hard fought, resilient, full of belief.
The goal came by playing through Catranis on the left side, and it looked like a couple times you were there doing jumping jacks trying to get them the big switch. Is that something you wanted to see more of throughout the game?
Is what we talked about at halftime. Is what they were giving us. You know, I think we're always doing the video for the players to give them ideas as to what teams are going to give us, right? And I think in this particular case, if we rotated them twice, we're going to have Catranis naked on the sideline. So again, I think, you know, the play he made with the goal, you know, I thought he had a fantastic game, and I think the ball that Juan played to Diego was class as well. You know, I think, you know, these are things that we looked at and saw, but the guys, I think, executed really well in that play. They executed really well on quite a few plays, and even in the second half, I think we could have put the game away with a couple other chances. You know, Victor rattled the crossbar, and then, you know, I think he had another good opportunity as well where he cuts inside. So overall, just really pleased. I think these games are going to always be hard fought, especially when you're playing against, you know, your rivals and the Rocky Mountain Cup. And I'm just so proud of, you know, the mentality that the guys showed today.
Can you summarize Cabral's performance, especially the saves and stoppage time?
Yeah, I mean, again, we wouldn't be in this. We wouldn't have the possibility to get to the playoffs without Rafa this year. I think he's a guy, and I've talked about him quite a bit, and I think he gave a real inspirational speech to the group before the game, and his performance was just as inspirational, you know. And I think and this is what I'm talking about, making plays, right? I talk about making plays a lot. Is the players that can consistently make plays, and in his case, in the box, are elite, right? And I think he's elite, and if it wasn't for him tonight, I don't think we get the 3 points.
When they made their double substitution at the hour mark, it looked like it gave them real life, and they really had you on the ropes there. Mm-hmm. How did you hold it together and not give anything up there? And is there anything you could have done to relieve the pressure so there wasn't so much last-ditch defending?
You know, I think we're up against the ropes. We wanted to make a change or two, but it's also, I think, Diogo's been, again, gaining fitness as he's been going. We take Diogo out too early. Now we lose control of the game with the ball, and so there's just what do you want to do? You want to solidify the defense, but what happens now when you have the ball? You're not going to be as threatening going forward. So, wanted to wait with that sub to keep Diogo on the field longer. I think, again, when we gain control in the second half for probably a 10-minute spell, Diogo is the catalyst in that. And so that was kind of the decision. The guys weathered the storm. And then we obviously went into a back three, back five with probably 10 minutes left in the game. But, again, they had chances, we had chances, and, you know, fortune favored us tonight.
The set-piece defending has been an issue throughout the year. They had a lot of set pieces in this game, and several of them were really dangerous. Did you feel like you're just a little lucky there, or do you feel like all the time you invested really paid off tonight?
I think it's always a little bit of both, DJ. There's just no way. You need so much fortune to win these games. I mean, the amount of times, like, again, Victor hits the ball, it rattles the post, and it doesn't go in. Well, why? Well, if it goes in, then we're up 2-0, and this is a different conversation. The amount of balls that they put across our 6-yard box, and it hits someone's kneecap, and it hits someone's heel. If there's a pigeon flying across the thing, and it probably hit the pigeon, you know? Like, there's so much fortune that goes into it, and we don't talk about it because it's too abstract. It's too, but it's real. It's real. In sport, you need the breaks. And then the breaks create momentum, and the momentum drives the group forward, and then the rest is history. So we had a lot of good fortune tonight, and they had some fortune in the moments where we could have capitalized on as well.
There were several. You've talked before in defeats about how it's just a moment, and someone falls asleep for a couple seconds, and that's it. And it felt tonight when they were attacking, there were a couple guys who seemed to be like one pass ahead and saved the club. Justin Glad had a couple interventions. Yep. Caliskin had multiple ones. And I thought Yedlin, even before you went to the back five, Yedlin was tucking inside and clean some stuff up. Do you feel like those three guys did what you've been talking about?
Yeah, again, I think whatever you focus on is gonna bring to their awareness in these kind of moments. I think they've done a really good job. I think we still have to kind of sort out that back five and make sure that we're comfortable in that shape to really attack it the right way, because the whole objective is not just to defend. It's to also, you have to defend with the ball, and that's when we're at our best, is when we're defending with the ball. And if we get caught in these games where we're just defending for the last 15, 20 minutes, it's going to be very difficult to hang on. So an area that we need to continue to look at and make sure that we're putting the guys in the best position to be successful.
Thanks, Pablo.
Congrats on the win. Earlier you talked about the mentality of how to control things under pressure. How do you evaluate that tonight, especially in the last minutes that was really intense there for y'all?
Yeah. Again, I think it just depends on what moments you're talking about, because I thought when we went into the 5, or even before we went into the 5, Victor had a couple really good looks where we were defending a little bit deeper, but used that to create transition moments to go to the attack. And again, if those balls go into the net, then I'm saying the mentality is unbelievable. We defended really well, and then we scored a goal, and we killed the game off. Well, it hits the crossbar and goes out, so I can't say that. You know what I'm saying? But I think the mentality was really good. And again, you have to play what the game gives you. And unfortunately, we were, I think, a little bit sloppy with the ball, and it led to a lot of moments where they got on top of the game. And you know what's crazy about football? If they would have scored, we would have owned the rest of the game with the ball. That's how crazy it is. And so there's this tension that exists when you have the goal and you're holding on to the lead, and the amount of risk that the opponents are willing to take to score the goal creates momentum for your opponents. And so there's going to be times where it's going to be tactical, but more than anything else, it's going to be mentality and winning your duels and making tackles. And then when we go forward, it's, do we go to goal or do we bring our team forward so now we can start to defend with the ball? And I think, again, that's another area that we'll look at and continue to work on.
What was the message to the group now heading into the final stretch? Is it more about managing results or continuing to play the style that they've been playing?
No, I think it's both. I think we want to continue to get better. I think there's, again, what are we, 10 months into the season, and I still think that there's areas where we've grown drastically as a team over the course of the year, but there's still areas where I think we, to get into the playoffs, I think we're going to have to continue to look at and be honest with ourselves. And again, I think closing out games has been one of those. Although tonight it worked out in our favor, I think we've as a collective have to do a better job to continue to get these results. And I think the most important thing, like I said before this game, the pressure is really on us to stay true to who we are and the way we want to play. It's not about just going out today and just getting a result, because how do you do that? It's really focusing on, you're going to make mistakes, it's not a problem. Have great reactions, inspire your teammates with the kind of quality and the bravery that we want to see on the ball. Diego Luna's on there, take people on. If Victor's on there, go to goal. Like, express yourself. And I think down the stretch, they can't be too tactical because there's so much pressure on each game. It's got to come from intuition. It's got to come from a place of feel. And so that's what we'll continue doing towards the end of the season.
Pablo, congrats. What stood out to you defensively in getting that clean sheet for you guys tonight?
Well, I think Jake Ladd probably had one of his best performances defensively. I thought he had a ton of blocks. I thought his ability to clear balls and set pieces in the run of play, a couple of headers late in the game, that really did a good job. And then I think Rafa is probably the best goalkeeper in this league. And tonight he showed it, he proved it. And I think those two guys defensively did a great job. And then obviously everyone else pulling their weight, because again, I think defending starts at the front. Victor and Juan did a good job. The two pivots, Noel and Ojeda. And then Emeka, when he came in, did a good job. And the outside backs, I think Alex had a really good game, and DeAndre had a good game as well. So it was a solid collective defensive performance.
And I know you don't like to look at the numbers, but RSL, you guys jumped up to 9th place after tonight. But how do you keep the group grounded but motivated?
Listen, 9th is not something where you're going to throw a party for. We've struggled a lot. I think we've been through a lot this year. The guys again, even after the game, I asked the guys to speak, because after we win, it's because they put forth the effort, they put forth the execution, and they got the result. And so, the guys were saying, listen, man, we can't rest on our laurels. We got to get to 7th spot. So the group is driving the narrative, and so there's no one resting. We got to be so grateful and blessed to be in this position after the season has gone the way it has, but then to have the mentality and the resilience to fight and now kind of dictate our own fate in these last 2 games is pretty powerful.
Pablo, going back to mentality, Justin Glad has been quoted saying, when you get on the field, you just do. How does that, how do you explain that to a fan who hasn't played at a high level? Because they might take that as a negative mindset, but how is it a positive, and how does that mentality win games?
Yeah, I think, again, if you're thinking about tactics, when bullets are flying, you're never going to perform at the highest level. In other words, the reason why we take Monday through Friday so serious and put so much emphasis on being so disciplined and professional Monday through Friday is because we want you to get to the game on Saturday and not have to think. Not have to think. You're operating from a place of intuition, and I think Jay Glad is a guy with a lot of experience. And the last thing you want to do is fill players with all these, we give them ideas as to how the game's going to go. We still need them to execute and play what they see, right? And so if I'm asking them to play what they see, then they just have to do. And obviously there's an element of thinking, obviously, but if it's too much, if the tactics are so overwhelming, then you always get paralysis by analysis. And we want players to operate from a place of flow, and flow only happens when the decisions are made from a place of second nature.
So a lot of coaches say that defense comes from a great offense. And it seems like at the beginning of all these games, our offense is our most beautiful defense. Mm-hmm. Why do we switch it in the second half when we've scored 1 or 2 goals?
So that's a really great question, and I think a lot of it has to do with a couple things. I think naturally in sport, your opposing team's going to, especially when you have a lead, they're going to commit numbers forward. They're going to ask a lot more questions. They're willing to get scored on again to score a goal. And so what typically happens for me is 2 things. One, from a defensive standpoint, is the guys up front aren't defending with the same type of mentality because they're almost like in protection mode. So they want the ball to kind of circulate around. When we're at our best, we're locking it on one side and we're pressing forward. And so you start to see that in the second half, where our forwards and our front players are more sagging. So that's the first part. Then they start to get in a rhythm, right? And so now they're pushing us back. But then when we have the ball, and this is a really important aspect of what we do when we can control the game like we did in the second half for probably 10 to 12 minutes, is the ball should never stop moving, right? And oftentimes you see a guy put his foot on the ball, and now all of a sudden there's a lack of movement ahead of the ball. When you put your foot on the ball, everything stops, right? So I'd say those 2 things, and it's almost like we put our foot on the ball because we want to keep the ball. But the idea is you got to keep moving and creating angles. Keep moving, creating angles. Suck them out and then break them, and then we can go forward again. But oftentimes we put our foot on the ball, and it allows them to press, and our guys don't really move off the ball when we do that. So I would say those 2 things, and then the other part is psychology, which is we have what we need, which is the goal, and it's a scary game to play. I think we should always go for the second, and again, I think in the second half, we had 2 or 3 really good opportunities to finish, and we didn't. So, but that's a great point, and that's something that we need to continue to, because it's more psychological than anything else. Yep.
Trevor.
Hey, Pablo. Just from what you said at the end there, kind of touches on my question. At the end of the game, there was a moment where Tyler, I think it was, had the ball and was just driving towards the goal, and it was kind of late in stoppage time. And my question is that what you want your players to be doing at the end of the game? Do you want them to be going for that second goal, or do you want to try to secure the win going into the corner? And the second part of the question is that something that you're trying to get 2 goals because are you guys thinking about the Rocky Mountain Cup at all, or are you trying to secure the win at this point?
Well, I think we're just trying to secure the win. And I think, to your question, it's kind of a double-edged sword. Ideally, we want to go to the corner flag. And we want to bring our team forward. Again, we don't want transition moments. Transition doesn't favor the team that's winning. Transition always favors the team that's losing. So what favors the team that's winning is control and getting numbers near the ball. So when you lose the ball, you can repress and regain, and you keep the game in front of you. So I don't know exactly where Wolfie was, how close the next layer of our attack was to Wolfie. So I don't even know if he pulled out and he went to the sideline, if anything could have happened. But ideally, we're wasting time, right? We're getting our team forward and we're doing that. When you lose the ball in that moment, your team's coming forward. They win the ball, and now we're in and there's a psychological effect to that as well. And I think there's another one with Willie where we could have gone to the sidelines. So here's the thing: if they score a goal, right? I'm like, okay, now it's 2-0. Now the game's on ice. So it's always like, and this is why I always tell the players, you have to make the best decision possible, right? And it's hard in that moment because it's very emotional. But I don't think there's a right decision always. If you have a 2v1 against the back line in transition, you go to goal. It's 2v1. We're going to finish 1v1. I don't know. Are you so there's so many variables that go into it. So there's not one way to do it. But what I want them to do is at least think about the options available while it's happening in real time to make the best decision in that moment.
Pablo.
Thank you. Pablo, felicidades por el triunfo. Quiero empezar por lo último. Al final del partido, tuviste un abrazo súper emocionado con tu cuerpo técnico. Es uno de los festejos más emotivos que has tenido en esta temporada. ¿Sientes que eso te está metiendo ya a la pelea directa?
At the end of the game, you celebrated really emotively with your coaching staff. Is that something that has to do with the end of the season and how things have been going so far?
Sí, yo creo que estoy emocionado porque los chicos pelearon y encontraron la manera de sacar el resultado. Y también el rival también es un rival que conozco muy bien y para mí es siempre lindo ganar contra Colorado y por eso estaba emocionado, pero más que todo encontrando la manera de sacar el resultado en este momento, porque si no sacamos los 3 puntos ahora se ponen difíciles las cosas. Ganamos la posibilidad de ir a Seattle e encontrar otro resultado para seguir mejorando el puesto.
I was emotional because the guys fought and they got that result. Colorado is a team that I know, but going forward, we need to go to Seattle and we need to continue to get these results moving forward towards the playoffs.
Bielsa dice que un jugador juega en varias circunstancias. Lo primero es de acuerdo a cómo sabe, cómo aprendió. Y la parte más importante tal vez es con quién, cuándo y por qué. El día de hoy hemos visto a Justin Glad, exacto, a Ruan corriendo, a Víctor esforzándose al máximo. ¿Sientes que es el momento que tenían para jugar así o es parte que se están comunicando y conectando ya?
Sí, yo creo que
Do you think this was the moment for your guys to really click and notice that towards the end of the season, this is the time to put everything together to get a result like this?
Sí, para mí es siempre difícil cuando en la ventana del verano traer 3 jugadores importantes para el equipo y que ya estamos unir el equipo con los 3 jugadores. Eso siempre toma mucho tiempo. Y también yo creo que con cada partido va mejorando el Víctor, el Juan y el DeAndre. Son jugadores con experiencia que nos ayuda bastante y yo creo que sienten el momento, la importancia de este momento y están jugando unidos, que es muy difícil. Y estoy muy contento como se han metido con el grupo y también como el grupo lo ha recibido.
It's always difficult to bring 3 players into the summer transfer window and to acclimate them to the squad. But we brought in 3 very experienced players who have been introduced to the guys, and they've been doing a great job in keeping them a part of this team. And towards this part of the season, they've been showing that they've been having a lot of impact on the squad, and the squad has been showing that.
Lo último. Seattle es un equipo complicado, está ganando ahora mismo y lo cual está favoreciendo a Real Salt Lake. Alguna vez escuché que Pablo Mastroeni es uno de los entrenadores más motivadores que pueda haber y sabe cómo manejar su gente. ¿Lo vas a usar para este partido?
Sí o sí. Sí o sí. Sí o sí.
Gracias.
Go ahead, Carlos.
Pablo, lo importante era ganar y se ganó. Enhorabuena por eso. pero analizando el partido tendrás que reconocer, o por lo menos a mi visión, que hubo mucha suerte esta noche.
Tonight it was important to analyze the win for what it was, but also the fact that there was a lot of luck on your side.
Sí o sí, pero también, Carlos, cómo hemos sufrido este año jugando un partido perfecto y perdiendo porque no tuvimos la suerte. Eso es el fútbol y eso es la vida. Claro que sí. Y por eso digo, después de todos los partidos, nunca vamos a jugar un partido perfecto. Pero hay que encontrar la manera, especialmente cuando las cosas no están saliendo en el partido, la mentalidad del grupo, el Justin con los cabezazos para terminar el partido y Rafa sacando la pelota del arco. Eso son fundamental. Claro, tenemos que manejar el partido mejor, sí o sí.
It's true. It's really hard to play a perfect game, and this season we've had really good games where we've dropped results. But with Justin's performance tonight and guys like Rafa who are always performing to the highest level, it's definitely helpful, and luck is going to be on your side with stuff like that sometimes.
Una cosa que me llamó la atención fue la segunda parte, que cediste el control del juego en la media cancha. Y tenías con qué para poder contrarrestar eso en la banca, pero sin embargo preferiste jugar de otra manera. ¿Me puedes explicar esa porque no es tu manera de entender el fútbol, por lo menos como yo te conozco?
In the second half you conceded possession and you could have gone to your substitutions to try and regain that control. Why did you decide to go for that decision?
Pues yo quería aguantar el Diogo, que todavía le falta mucho el físico para terminar un partido. Y claro, está cansado. Y para mí, estamos ganando el partido. No quise arriesgar poner un jugador más ofensivo en ese momento, sabiendo que el partido es muy apretado. Y por eso puse a Wolfie. Y el otro, el Willy, es un delantero para seguir jugando para adelante. Me está hablando de Pablo, de encontrar pero y también el Pablo viene de una lesión, no ha jugado demasiado, y es un riesgo ponerlo porque no lo he visto. Ahora viene como 10 días de entrenar y para meterlo en este partido también es un riesgo, porque uno no sabe. Hace mucho tiempo que no juega. Yo creo que el último partido que jugó fue contra Minnesota. Hace mucho tiempo. Y por eso tomé la decisión. Son cosas que... Y a veces si pones un jugador para controlar el partido, a lo mejor te hacen un gol. Uno nunca sabe. Pero como sacamos el resultado, yo creo que no sé los cambios.
As we see Diogo getting back to fitness, I didn't want to risk that and push him too hard. That's why we went with Wolfie and with Willie higher up the pitch to be able to counteract those moments that Colorado was having. You talk about Pablo, and he's also coming back to full fitness, so we also didn't want to risk him there. But I think at the end of the day, that's why I made that decision, and the result was in our favor.
Última cuestión, quedan 2 partidos. Sorry?
Pablo's done.
¿Puedo preguntar o no?
No.
¿No?
No. No es tiempo.
Thank you, Pablo.
Thanks, Pablo.
Justin, it looked like the team had a little bit of an edge tonight defensively in the last half hour, even though they kept coming, you guys kept clearing balls and all that. What do you attribute that extra little bit of focus and toughness to?
Yeah, it's a good question. I think we all know what's on the line right now, and obviously we've had our sights set on playoffs for the whole season, and it's that time of the year where it's going to take a little more to win games and to get shutouts, and I think that's what you saw.
We've seen teams that have been either sent into slumps or broken by a couple of the results you guys had to endure with LAFC, the back-to-back 4-1s. But you guys have come out of that and played well and gotten results. What do you attribute that to?
Yeah, I think it's just the mentality of this team is good. You know, obviously you're going to get defeated every once in a while, and it's about how quick you bounce back and how you react. And I think we've shown that we're quite resilient in that matter. And now we got 2 games left where we know what we have to do, and hopefully we put together 2 more strong performances.
How would you sum up Cabral's performance in goal?
Oh, he was incredible tonight. I think he's been incredible all year, making big saves all year, and tonight was no different. So it was massive.
The double substitution they made at about the hour mark seemed to swing things for them a little bit. What did that do that put you guys under so much pressure?
You know, I'm not even sure. I don't know. But yeah, you could definitely tell the momentum. They were on top of us a little bit. But I thought we weathered the storm, and you know, like I said, credit to everyone on the field, all the subs who came in. I thought the mentality was top to see the game out, and you know, sometimes it's not going to be pretty every game, but at this point it's about the result, and I'm just buzzing that we got the 3.
So when you get back to your locker, do you check the phone and check the scores and see how the race goes, or do you like to ignore that?
I just looked right outside, and it's tight per usual. So, like I said, it's going to take a couple more wins to make sure we're in the playoffs, and that's the mentality.
Thank you.
Go ahead, Jimmy.
Justin, congrats on the win. Defensively tonight, you guys have to absorb a lot of pressure. What was the key moments to stay composure on that?
I think Rafa made a couple big saves. There were a couple people who had some big blocks, and it's about stepping up in those moments and making those saves, making those blocks. So yeah.
Tonight's win was crucial. How do we keep that momentum going into Seattle?
Yeah, I think, you know, building off these past 2 results, everyone in that locker room believes that we're a top team and we can compete with anyone. And now it's just time to go out there and show it and you know, show up to these games and do what we can do and win.
Hey, Justin. Congrats on the win. Tonight is the first shutout I think you guys have had in league play for a couple months. What do you contribute that to for tonight versus the last couple months?
Yeah. I think we were just locked in for the full game. I think, you know, some of the games this season we've had opportunities to get shutouts, and then there's just a sloppy goal or a mistake or something like that, and we give away a cheap one. And tonight we buttoned it down and made sure there was no silly mistakes. And like I said, Ralph made a big save, and that's how we got it.
Justin, congrats on the win. Tonight, you was really, really inspired, and exactly, thank you for that. And what happened with the whole team was exactly doing the right in this game.
Yeah, like I said, just the mentality of everyone. The subs who came in did incredible, left it all out on the field. I thought we had a clear understanding of what we had to do, even going into a back 5 late in the game to kind of see it out. Everyone knew what their responsibility was, and everyone performed. So I think that's, you know, it's sometimes everyone knows what they have to do, and the performance doesn't match up. But I think tonight we went out and did well.
How was the locker room?
Good. I think, like I said, we knew tonight was a must-win. It feels good to be in that play-in game as of right now, but we know that if we lose the next 2, tie the next 2, we're right back out of it. So it's a winning mentality that we're carrying into the next 2 weeks, and hopefully, like I said, the momentum is there, the belief is there. So I think things are, you know, we'll see what happens, but I think we're in a good spot.
Thank you.
Justin, earlier in this first half, Cruz was looking for that long ball. Is that something that we're going to hopefully see against Seattle? Were you looking for that in this game?
Yeah, I think you know, it's tough varying how you attack every game. I think we like to play to feet and combine, but also you need to stretch, you need the running behind, and it's effective. And of course, even if he does it a couple times, drops their back line, then you can play underneath. So it's something that we for sure have been looking more for. And I think we executed. I think Vera had a couple good ones down the left-hand side. Yedlin had one or two. And I think it provides just a good outlet for us in our build. And it provides a good, dangerous attack as well.
Anybody else for Justin? Thank you, sir. Thank you. Thanks, Justin.
Cheers. Appreciate you guys.
You know, congrats on the win.
Thank you.
I want to talk to you personally about, so you're kind of like the wild card here in RSL. You play a lot of position.
Mm-hmm.
How does that motivate you to continue in this stretch, in the final stretch of the season?
Yeah, I've said it in the past. I'll say it again. Wherever the team needs me, I'll play. If that's at right back, 6, I don't know if something else happens. I just want to be in the 11. That's my goal.
How is you seem to be holding back a little bit more like a centrist midfielder and having Brian push up. Was that something tactical that Pablo talked to you guys about, or kind of how the game happened?
Yeah, I think it's something tactical, that I'm a little more responsible for the shape behind the ball, especially on fast attacks. It sometimes can get chaotic if their forwards are lazy and don't run back. Then I'm like responsible for, the shape behind the ball with our center backs together. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Do you feel like this performance shows what this team is capable when fully locked in?
Well, I don't think it was the best performance, to be honest. I think that last week it was a overall better performance. This week today was just I think it started to get a little ugly towards the end. But yeah, I think the last 2 games have shown that we're still believing, we're still fighting to make the playoffs. I think now we're in a playoff spot actually, and we're not playing to drop out of that again.
And then how much confidence does a result like this give the midfield going moving forward?
How much confidence this result gives us? I mean, I think it's, like I said, not only this one, I think it's the one against Austin too, where it was a really good performance. Now we have another 3-point performance. We have a game in hand against most teams. And yeah, I think obviously, winning and in the spot in the spot in which we are right now, I think that will give us a lot of confidence for the last 2 games, and obviously we don't want to drop out of the spot that we're in at the moment.
Could you sum up Rafa Cabral's performance in goal?
Top. 11 out of 10. I mean, no, we're obviously trying to do our best to block shots, but especially when you're up 1-0 late in the game, teams are willing to just throw forward wherever, and there will be moments where we have to rely on Rafa, and more often than not, or basically any time this season, we needed to rely on him. He came up huge again today, so not surprised.
There are teams that we've seen have either been broken or they've slumped, and it's taken a while to recover after losing games 4-1, 4-1 the way you did to LAFC. You guys bounced back with back-to-back home wins. What do you attribute your ability to pivot and move past those two?
I think especially the game in LA wasn't necessarily a 4-1 game. I felt like that with their quality, they were just punishing us every time they got in behind. I think that so first of all, that didn't like this result against LA didn't feel like so it didn't feel like a 4-1 game. And then also I think just our work within the week from Tuesday to Friday, I think we've been putting in the work. I think we're putting in good work. We have good player, we have a good team, and I think a good spirit in the group, which I think helped us to bounce back.
Thank you.
Well, I don't know if you know this. You've won our RSL Random Fan podcast Orange Slice of the Year for all your hard work. I was wondering, who on the team would you give an award to for who's like pretty much the unsung hero?
Hmm.
You can retain it. It's totally fine, dude.
Can I get back to you on that one?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. Cool.
Anyone else for Noel?
Yeah, me. I know in your personal opinion,
Mm-hmm.
how we have to play with Seattle, and if you compare Seattle with LA, do you have a personal opinion between these two teams?
Now we're getting real technical. I mean, haven't watched Seattle so much this year that I can compare them with LAFC, to be honest, and I give you a good opinion.
What's your motivation, your mentality to play with Seattle? It's like any other game, or you thinking and to get into playoffs?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's any other game. I think if we win that game, I think, are we in then? Yeah. Like, looks really good, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, I think if we win the game in Seattle, I think it puts us in a really good spot then playing against St. Louis, who, I mean, they're already out. I'm not saying that's going to be an easy game, because those teams sometimes play with a little freedom. They don't really have anything to lose. Yeah, I think we just went out, we're in, period. So I think that's what we're trying to do.
The last one. As a player, you like to watch the other games, like if you're going to play with Seattle,
Mm-hmm.
maybe you want to watch personal videos just to see how they play,
Yeah.
or to know how you're going to play with them?
Well, especially when I was playing right back, I was watching a lot of the wingers I was facing. But yeah, in general, I watch a lot of soccer. But I don't think enough Seattle that I can give you a good opinion on, compare their playing style to LAFC. So.
That's it. Thank you.
Anyone?
Thanks, guys.